Hello and welcome to the podcast, where we are here to strengthen music careers and communities one song at a time. And now here's your host, Jacob Wing. Yay!
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. This is a big one. This is number 100 for us, so we wanted to have a big celebration, and I only had one person in mind for this whole episode. If you notice, we've kind of been waiting and putting a couple episodes on the back burner because we wanted Tanner Laws for our 100th episode. He happened to be our first guest ever, and we wanted him for this big occasion. So Tanner Laws, thank you so much for taking the time to come back and let us chat you up again, see how things have gone. So obviously, just being episode number 100 is big for us, but we were just excited to watch you from the last time that we got to sit down and talk. We were working in studio together, and watching you grow from that point forward has been just one of the rare joys in life. So it's been amazing. Let's talk about that. Since then, you have, first and foremost, put together a full band, which is a huge accomplishment, especially in rural Montana. So let's talk about your band first and foremost. How did it come together? Tell us about the members and everything that's going on there.
Yeah, first of all, no, thanks again for having me on. Honored to be the 100th episode, and yeah, it's kind of sweet. Full circle. Feel like it's been so long since the first time we met up here to record some songs. This last year was crazy busy. It flew by. I started playing with my full 4-piece band last January 2024, and we kind of just hit the road running. I mean, I was kind of already booked up a lot for solo gigs and had a bunch of connections, obviously, from performing solo for about 3 years. But once I added the full sound of the full band, it kind of opened up some new venues, some more like dance halls and concert venues and stuff like that. And so we were just, every single weekend, it felt like in the summer, we were traveling all over and putting the miles on and absolutely grinding. And it's been awesome. And I couldn't ask for better guys to do it with too. My band members are both incredibly talented, and they're also professional, and they're guys I trust. They're great dudes. It's been a blessing for sure. Like, I can't believe how things lined up, and I'm really blessed right now.
What was the process like? Did you just reach out on Craigslist? How did it come about?
That's a great question. I get musicians actually been asking me a lot about that lately, because like you said, it's tough to find musicians in Montana. Like, it's really tough. It took me a while. But when I quit my engineering job back in 2021, I printed out a bunch of flyers, just printer paper, start a band with the silhouette of band members and like listed instruments I wanted in my band, drummer, bass player, fiddle, electric guitar, stuff like that. If you're interested in getting paid to perform and you're willing to travel, contact me. And I left my phone number and email at the bottom. And I hung them up all over the college campus, all over the bars that I had performed solo at, music stores, Western apparel stores.
Smart.
Made sure I got business cards too and started leaving them there. And I honestly didn't hear anything back for maybe a year, or like a couple people, but it was kind of hard to meet up sometimes. But I ended up meeting my drummer through a friend who... her and I would just swing dance every time I went to the Sunrise Saloon here in Missoula. And she was like, hey, I saw your flyer. And she was in music school. She's like, I think I got a buddy who plays drums that might be interested in playing with you. And so she gave me his number. I sent him I made a little playlist of songs I typically play at my shows. Some Johnny Cash, some George Strait, Turnpike Troubadours. I was like, hey, listen to these, see if you can drum along to them, and we'll meet up. And so we met up on campus in a practice room, and he threw on some headphones, played the songs, and drummed along. And I was like, "Yeah, you're good." And then
That's so awesome.
I was like, "You're in." So let's get a set list ready. And back then, I was playing solo shows at the Sunrise, which anyone that's been there knows it's a dancing bar. It's like the one like honky tonk swing dance bar in Missoula. And so playing solo was fun, but it was tougher to get people dancing. Like, you could do it, but it's just not the same. We don't have the drums and the bass.
Yep, it's a thing.
And so I ended up playing a couple shows, just me and my drummer, which is funny. Me singing acoustic guitar and drummer. And then ended up, he was in a jazz music major in UM, And he was like, hey, I think you got a buddy that would be interested in playing bass with us. So same deal, sent him some songs. We started meeting up once a week. And then we got good enough to play 3 hours worth of songs and started booking us some stuff. And I think we did like 2 or 3 shows in the fall and winter of 2021, just us 3. And then my electric guitar player reached out to me via Facebook. He saw my songs online somewhere and he liked them. And then he looked me up and saw that we play in Missoula, and he lives near Missoula. And it was like, hey, if you ever need a pedal steel guitar player, I'd be interested in playing with you guys. And that's awesome because I love that instrument.
Oh, 100%.
And everyone says that's one of the hardest like instruments to get in your band. There's
joke.
not a lot of them. And so I was like, yeah, for sure. And I sent him a couple songs, same thing. We all met up and he sounded great. And then he didn't mention that he played a lead electric guitar too. And he was like, hey, I listened to your song here in Butte. And I wrote a solo for it if you want to hear it. I was like, yeah, sure. And so we played it, and he, I guess, has been playing lead electric guitar for like 20 years or something. He just ripped it up. It was crazy.
Goodness.
I was like, you didn't mention that you were...
He's just a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. And he's one of those very valuable utility guys that you want to keep around.
So cool. What are their names, by the way, just in case they haven't watched? Give them a shout out.
Yeah, give the guys a shout out. So on pedal steel and electric, Eric Rudnick, drums, Sam Purvis, and bass, Owen Cleary, and then other guys that have been playing with me too are Jeffrey Taylor, been stepping in with some fiddle, which is awesome. Love me some fiddle. Marco Capferri has also been playing some bass. And then other guys we've done a couple shows with are Josh Regal, which I don't know if you know Josh. He does he does sound at places like the Top Hat and Rustic Hut.
That's a big deal.
And works with Logjam and stuff too.
Actually. Yes, yeah. Okay.
Great guy. And he's got a great voice too, man. He's got an awesome voice. And then Grady Radke has played a couple shows with me on bass, and then he also plays guitar and sings. And we had one other guy that stepped in on bass with us one time. His name's Connor. Can't remember his last name, but he's also went to jazz music school at UM, and he's like a professor at the UM now teaching piano. And this, he's a pianist, and everyone just says he's like a musical genius. And I watched him one time at a jazz show with my drummer and bass player, and he was ripping it up on electric guitar. He was playing piano, like just a musical genius kind of guy.
Oh my goodness. You have an entire stable. Yeah. And that speaks to everything you've done. I always say that there's a gravitas to people that are driven and are really pushing in the right direction, and they start pulling in, and clearly you are driven. Clearly you're hitting all the right notes and getting all the things done. So this collegiate, or everybody just coming around you to support you and be part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
And I think it's another part of it is like all of those guys, none of them are like in it just for the money. They all love the music too, which is a big part of it. And they're guys that I have to have at least a good feeling about them. Like as soon as I get a bad gut feeling about someone, I'm kind of staying away from it. So I think that's been a big part of it is being able to like pick and choose, like, all right, yeah, I think I'll give this guy a shot, but also being open to anything. Like if other people like talk to you about wanting to jam or play or something, just be open to it. You don't have to say yes to everything, but being like kind and like opening up. If someone comes to your gig, and like last week we were playing a show and a kid messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, I saw you're playing. I live in Missoula. I'm just trying to like play. Would you let me do a couple songs during your break? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. I'll run it by with the venue, make sure it's cool with them, and if it's cool with them, it's cool with me. Like, I remember being at that point, like just looking for opportunity, just want to play music. Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. Good for you. That is awesome. So you've got the band. Since we last talked, you have also done a couple big openings. I believe Clint Black, and is that right?
Clint Black. I did that one solo, and then last year we opened up 2 days in a row for Rodney Atkins, my band did.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then we also opened for Braxton Keith and Randall King up at the Phillips County Fair. And the other fun one was we got to do 3 days in a row opening for Colby Acuff, who's a guy from Idaho.
He's awesome.
Very similar like vibes and songwriting because, he's at outdoorsy guy from Idaho, and I'm an outdoorsy guy from Western Montana. And his whole band was awesome, and like we got to learn a lot from them just being their opener and then watching how they worked. One of the things we took away most from them was like being more seamless going from song to song, because a lot of times we're playing 3 to 4 hour gigs,
right.
And so it's kind of like we'll do a song and then there will be like a few seconds of silence. I'll talk a little bit about the next song and then we'll get into it. But when we're an opening act and we only got 30 minutes to 45 minutes, we got to make every minute count. And so we learned by watching them and then talking to each other. We did a song and then we would have one instrument in the band go straight into the next song. Like drummer would lead us in with a solo where bass would start walking, and that really made it more efficient. And so much so that we did the same set list 3 days in a row opening for Colby, and the last night we ended up having enough extra time for 2 extra songs.
Wow.
That's like how efficient going from song to song like quickly was doing for us. It was crazy.
And I gotta say that a lot of people come into my studio, especially after getting to work with you, and they'll say like, I want to do what Tanner does, or I like this vocal, or I like his guitar work, or I want this or that. You know, how does he do that? And one thing that I've always said about anybody that asks or talks about you, like incredibly smart and just like a sponge. You take in everything around you and then you apply it to what's going to work for your band, what's going to work for your music. And that's the first thing I want to tell anybody. If you are a fan of his music, if you love Tanner's work, you want to do anything like him, you really have to be observant and take in around you and learn from what's going on, who's doing the right thing around you, you know.
Yeah.
I've always appreciated that about you. So it really makes sense that you learned a lot from Colby and all that stuff.
Yeah, thank you. No, I've definitely taken that approach in like anything I've done, between sports, in school, or relationships, or anything. Like no matter how good you are at something, you can always strive to be better in certain areas.
There's a lot of us that need that lesson.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. So let's talk about, I know that you've done a couple trips to Nashville, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so you went down there and was doing some recording. Let's talk about that. When was the first dates, and when did you make this choice that I'm going to do my next recordings in Nashville, and how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I was just like, you know what, I want to give it a shot, like go down there, spend some money, see what happens. If I don't like it, I can change courses again, you know. I'm all about like taking risks, and then if something doesn't go the way you planned or you don't like the outcome of it, then you learned.
Yeah,
like,
you shift.
Experience is like the best teacher, you know. And so I decided I wanted to give that a shot, and I just reached out to multiple people. Like I reached out to Braxton Keith and his team, and I reached out to Colby Acuff, and I reached out to my buddy Sean Carroll, who's bass player for Warren Zeters, and they all like gave me some options of people that they know that are producers that I could try, and I like reached out to them and had a couple guys that were saying they could, but not all of them were from Nashville. They're in different places. Mm-hmm. And communication is sometimes tough, and I ended up calling the last guy, and I was talking to him on the phone, and I was just like, yeah, so this is where I'm at right now in my music career. I'm a musician up in Montana full-time. I got a band. I was like, I kind of want to record some new songs, and I want like the works. I want fiddle, I want electric guitar, pedal steel, drums, bass, and I want to get like a full high quality vibe. Like, what do you think? And he was like, dude, I love that 90s country music. He's like, let's make it happen. And so I sent him a couple demos, and he rounded up some incredibly talented artists down in Nashville.
That's
and
exciting.
I was like, all right, I guess this is really happening. And so I made up a little contract, which I've been trying to be better at having that from almost anything.
Smart.
Even if you do have a good vibe and you feel like you can trust someone, it's just always
cover
safe.
your bases.
Yeah, always safe to have stuff in writing. So made up a contract. I sent him, I think it was like a 50% deposit or something. Basically, I had to send him the money that it cost for the session musicians ahead of time, because they had to book, like, okay, we're going to keep this 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Thursday available for this session. And basically me paying them ahead of time was showing them I had some skin in the game. That way if I had to cancel or something, they were already paid for their time that they put aside.
Makes a lot of sense.
So I had to put a lot of money up front for it. And then the plane ticket, which the first time I went, it was, we did 2 shows in a row up in Columbia Falls, Friday, Saturday. And then I left the next day, Sunday, flew down to Nashville. the first day I was there, recorded the whole day pretty much, and then the second day was pouring rain, and I just walked around downtown Broadway and basically went up to every bartender or sound engineer there and asked for the booking information, whether it was just on their website or if they gave me a direct email. And I got like 50 booking information emails. I was like, because one day I want to play down there. It was just happened that these first 2 times I went to Nashville, I was only there for about 2 days. So
yeah, you can't really book shows and do that. Yeah.
Yep. So I got the booking info for future reference. So hopefully we can make that happen soon. But both times it was flew down there, 1 day worth of recording 2 songs, and then 1 day of kind of gathering information. Also got to shout out my buddy Eric BK for letting me stay with him in Nashville, so I didn't have to get a hotel or an Airbnb. Yep.
Thanks, Eric. That's awesome.
Thanks for letting me crash on your couch, man. And no, it was an awesome experience, and it was really cool to get to work with artists that do that for a living, like every day, and also to be there in person, first person with them is awesome. Because I'm all like everything I do and everyone I work with, when I can, I want to be able to look them in the eye and talk to them and shake their hand and thank them and like be able to talk about stuff in real time. So that was really awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah.
How about, this is a little bit of a side question, but was there anything that you learned? I mean, you've done a lot of studio work. You've done a number of recordings. You got a full album and an EP, lots of singles. You have 2 full albums, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, you've done it. You've been doing it. Did you learn anything new from going down there and working with them?
Yeah, it was cool the way it was set up. It was, so all the musicians were in the same area, but there was like one big room like this where they had drums in the back that had some sound shields, and then in that same room is where the pedal steel guitar player set up over here, electric guitar player set up over there, bass player right here, and they all had their own headphones plugged in so they could hear that way and it wouldn't be too loud of a room. And then the fiddle player went into a separate like vocal recording room.
Okay.
Same thing, they had headphones in, acoustic guitar player in a separate room, and I was in the main room where the monitors were with the producer and the sound engineer, and they had all heard the voice memo I did of just me and my guitar playing my original song, and they all went to their spots and then just counted in, went for it. They did one whole run through of the song. They all had sheets in front of them with the lyrics and the chord changes and the key and everything. And so they did one run through, just kind of find it, and then we'd be like, oh, maybe that feels a little too fast. So we would pull back the BPM a little bit or speed it up depending on the vibe. And after maybe 5 or 6 run-throughs of the song and then re-recording stuff, they all kind of got to feel the vibe, and then they all took a couple breaks in and out while others like recorded their solos, and it was just really awesome being able to sit back, and the audio engineer and producer were great, working with Ryan Newman and Austin Adams. They were just professional. I mean, Austin was running the show. He had a mic, so we would get done with a run-through of the full song, and he'd be like, great job, guys. That sounded awesome. Hey, Mark, maybe if you want to hit like the end of verse 2 again, if you want to hit that little section, you want to hit that again, and you could hear them all talking back like, yeah, I want to do that. And then one of the other guys would chime in, I'd like to get on that too. Like, let's do that one again. And it was just so cool being a part of it, and it went by way too fast for me trying to soak in everything. But it was an incredible experience. Yeah.
Awesome. Really see the machine, see how the sausage is made. Really cool.
Yeah.
And I think you do have some photos on Instagram and I believe TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And we have all those links below. Please go check them out. See what he's doing. Also, see what music is coming up. Go check out those links. But that is fantastic. And really, what a once-in-a-lifetime, twice-in-a-lifetime huge experience. So cool. And, of course, follow his links and follow him on all the socials just in case you do wind up going down there. Might catch a show in between there. You never know. Just make sure you're following. Don't miss anything. So you got the tracks recorded, and then that must mean that you have an album coming out soon?
Yeah, so that's the plan right now. I have 4 new songs recorded. First single is ready for pre-release and pre-saves right now. It's called Aim to Please. And so you can pre-save that on Spotify. And it's going to officially drop Tuesday, May 13th, which is the week that we're playing at the Miles City Bucking Horse Sale opening up for Tiger Lily Gold and Gary Allan.
Wow.
It's going to be awesome. That one's coming out. That one's very fun, swing dance, upbeat, Cody Johnson type song. And then the next one will probably drop 6 to 8 weeks after that. I'm kind of going with the waterfall release strategy.
That works.
Yeah, drop a single, and then 6 to 8 weeks later, drop another single, but have them in a little EP together. That way, when they listen to the second single, if it's a new person,
just adds on top of that.
And it automatically plays your song
Yep.
instead of going to someone else's.
So cool.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll have all the links. Anything that gets added to that, we'll always have the links, no matter what. So check those out. That is fantastic. And you said May 13th was the first one?
Yep. That one's going to be Aim to Please. And then I think the second one I'm going to release is called Right as Rain. And that one was kind of inspired by a early Brad Paisley sound.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, like early, like Me Neither or 2 Feet of Topsoil, kind of early Brad Paisley
that's gonna
thing.
Be
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait. Well, that's very exciting. Besides that, I mean, obviously you just talked about the Bucking Horse sale, and that was a huge deal in Montana. They vote on it. You get top 4 really big bands in Montana, and then it's voted on by their fan base, and everybody gets access to it. You guys wound up coming in on top. What was that like? I mean, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was so last year we made the top 4 again, and like you said, it's all based off of voting. So we only get in if we get the most votes. And last year we came in second, and this year we won it thanks to people going on and voting. And they did a new process this year too, where before it was you could vote once per email. Like if you had multiple emails, you could use them. And then this year they added on that you could vote once per email every 24 hours.
Right, once a day.
And so that really added on. And it was a close run, and there was a bunch of really good other bands that were up for the voting. But yeah, we were super fortunate to come through, and been looking forward to that. I've heard so many stories about the Miles City Bucking Horse sale. And,
oh yeah.
I'm excited for that stage and for that crowd, and I think we're really gonna wow the people there.
Awesome. And again, we'll have links below if you want to get tickets to that show and not miss that.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. Hit that up. Get yourself some tickets. Don't miss it. So that's pretty much it. Anything else happening? Anything you want to talk about coming up? Or
Our other big shows I'm really excited for is we're opening up for Clint Black down in Dillon during the Montana's biggest weekend, Dillon Rodeo weekend. You know, that'll be awesome. Second time opening for Clint Black, first time with the full band, but that one was awesome. I was sending them emails probably 2-3 years ago as a solo artist, asking, hey, if you ever needed a solo, like local artist to open up for your opener, and just trying to get in. And
yeah, that's exactly how you got to do it.
I mean, yeah, the worst people can say is no, you know. And so a couple years of trying and kept grinding with the band and worked our butt off, and then they ended up reaching out to me and asking me if we would be the main opener. So yeah.
Wow, and he seems like, I don't know, obviously you only get to see a certain percentage, but he seems like such a great guy down there.
Yeah, and they're so good.
Oh,
their sound is so good.
It's so weird that you think you've worked your whole life and you've kind of, okay, I'm a professional musician, and then you see the level, like, okay, I can get there, but there's another level I didn't know existed.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, talking about how we were talking about, there's always something you can learn. It's so funny that as soon as you become a musician, really, and you're kind of into it, you never really experience concerts the same, because instead of enjoying it, you're like you're watching their fingers for the chord change, or you're listening to certain things that they do different live than they do in their recordings, and you're just like studying instead of like being at the concert.
Or like watching the interactions between the band members, or as an audio nerd, you're instantly like, well, it sounds okay, but I would like, no, just enjoy the moment, man. Come on.
Yeah, you just can't help yourself. Yeah.
Well, that's too funny. That's exciting. Again, all his links. He usually has links to all your shows, all the tickets. Don't miss any of these. They're all great shows. I think that's all we really have. I really appreciate your time coming back, being on the 100th episode. Be sure to follow, get downloads, do the pre-saves, help him get those numbers up, because this man's going places. He's not stopping here. So, again, thank you so much. Tenor Laws. Catch it. And he's going to be on Between the Logs. We're going to have that out behind this. You going to play a song for us?
Yeah, let's do it.
What song are you going to play?
I think I'll play one of the new ones on the upcoming album. It's called In Some Way.
All right, don't miss that. Be sure to follow us so you don't miss this guy performing for us. And we'll see you guys on that next one. Bye.